This video is an analysis of Shakespeare's Hamlet through a Freudian psychoanalytic lens. More specifically, we will be taking a closer look into the mind of Claudius during Act 3, Scene 3, and break down his character's thoughts and decisions using Freudian ideas and theories. In Act 3, Scene 3, Claudius, the king, is finally given the empty stage to express his thoughts and feelings regarding his brother's murder. This is the first time in the play that we see Claudius allowing his superego to sway his judgment as he is filled with guilt and regret. But before I break down this monologue through a Freudian psychoanalytic lens, we must first understand Claudius's history and go way back. As a child, Claudius was always second to his brother Hamlet. Yes, Hamlet's father's name was also Hamlet, so for lack of confusion we'll refer to him as Hamlet Sr. Hamlet Sr. was the heir to the throne of Denmark, which most likely made him the center of attention and gave him royal and social prowess over his younger brother. Claudius had to watch as his brother was handed everything he could ever have dreamed of: a crown, a castle, a princess, and the opportunity to have a large and relevant place in Denmark's history. Growing up, this must have deeply affected Claudius during his psychosexual developmental stages, especially during his phallic stage. The phallic stage theory describes how young boys become sexually attracted to their mothers and jealous and rivalrous of their fathers. It is likely that Claudius focused this jealousy and rivalry towards his brother instead of his father, because Hamlet Sr. got most of his mother's attention. During the phallic stage, boys go through the Oedipus complex, where they want to kill their fathers but feel guilty and become scared of their father's physical superiority because they could castrate them. Because his brother was not physically superior and could not cut off his balls and stuff, Claudius's Oedipus complex could not fully develop, and his murderous feelings were never truly resolved. The id, which is responsible for our base desires and instinctual behaviors, is present from birth and has full control over the mind from a very young age. That is, until the superego and ego are developed. During the earliest psychosexual developmental stages, the ego is formed, which satisfies the id while redirecting it against some of its more dangerous desires. When the superego finally forms, the id can be properly managed and the ego's decision-making is greatly improved. Claudius's id was never fully disciplined during the phallic stage, and so it remained overly powerful throughout his life and influenced many of his selfish decisions. Fast forward many years later while Hamlet Sr. is ruling the kingdom. Claudius's phallic fixation is finally triggered when he becomes attracted to his brother's wife. The murderous desires of his phallic stage re-enter Claudius's mind, causing him to concoct a plan to kill his brother and solve all of his its problems. In this primitive state of mind, Claudius's superego becomes penalized and has absolutely no effect on the ego's decision-making. The id is in full control. Once Hamlet Sr. was killed and Claudius was named king, I believe his superego regained its power over the ego once more by using the defense mechanism, disassociation. Fast forward to the scene that I should have been analyzing from the beginning. Like I said at the very beginning, Claudius is finally given the empty stage to express his true feelings. This scene marks the first time that we see a lighter side of Claudius's character, and proves that his superego is starting to retake the reins and open his eyes to the truth. In the line,
"My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent."
Claudius is explaining how his guilt is even stronger than his intentions, which perfectly describes how his superego, his guilt, has become stronger than his id, his intentions. He then goes on to say,
"And like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin and both neglect."
Which in translation describes how he feels like a person with two opposite things to do at once, leaving him paralyzed and neglecting of both of them. This sudden realization of Claudius's horrific actions, which are thrusted upon him by his revived superego, leaves his ego penalized and unresponsive to both his id and superego. I believe this speech represents the point at which Claudius's disassociative defense mechanism became ineffective because it depended on Claudius being the only person aware of his crimes. When he realized that Hamlet also knew, his defensive mental bubble was popped and Claudius was forced to switch to a new defensive mechanism. This line begins with Claudius stripped of all defenses as his ego desperately searches for a suitable mechanism.
What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Where do serve mercy but to confront the visage of offense? And what's in prayer but this twofold force to be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardoned being done?
Claudius uses the defense mechanism rationalization by assuring himself that his sins will be washed away because that's what God's mercy is for. Furthermore, in the line,
Then I'll look up. My fault is past.
Claudius attempts to reinforce his rationalization by praying, but doubt still lingers in his mind. This is especially prevalent in the line,
Oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder.
In conclusion, Claudius's actions are truly inexcusable, but there is some method to his madness. In order to fully understand the reasoning behind his horrific crime, one must first understand the guilty individual's developmental history through a Freudian psychoanalytic lens in order to grasp the inner workings of their mind. In his play Hamlet, Shakespeare does an excellent job of demonstrating how the actions of a truly evil person capable of deceit, murder, and narcissism is often caused by events in their early lives. If they are scarred and broken, the good in them is not allowed to grow, and their darkness and pain guides them to the evil choices that define them.